The city woke up before the sun. Garbage trucks growled through narrow streets. Buses sighed at corners. Somewhere, a siren cried once and then went quiet. By the time daylight touched the tops of the buildings, most people were already late to something. Ethan Caldwell was not. He stood alone in his penthouse kitchen, barefoot on cold stone, watching the city from 40 floors up. A glass of untouched water sat on the counter. His phone lay face down beside it, vibrating every few seconds like a trapped insect. Ethan did not look at it. At 47, Ethan Caldwell owned more of the city than most people realized. Construction firms, private schools, logistics companies, real estate. His name was on buildings, foundations, scholarships. His face appeared on magazine covers twice a year with different headlines that all said the same thing. Self-made, visionary, relentless. No one ever used the word lonely. He had learned long ago that silence was safe in attachment. Silence did not disappoint you. Silence did not leave. The kettle clicked off. Ethan poured hot water into a mug, forgot the tea bag, and carried it to the window anyway. Below him, traffic crawled. Thousands of lives moving at once, none of them touching his. The phone vibrated again. This time, he picked it up. 9 missed calls, 3 messages. The first message was from his assistant. Emergency at Eastline Academy. Please call immediately. Eastline Academy. Ethan frowned. It was one of his schools. A private institution with a polished website, strict uniforms, and a waiting list longer than a year. It existed because he believed education should be efficient, measurable, controlled. He returned the call. Mr. Caldwell. His assistant said quickly, voice tight, "Thank you for calling back." "What happened?" Ethan said. "Not a question. There was an incident this morning, a student situation. Administration handled it, but a parent is causing trouble." "What kind of trouble?" "She's demanding to speak to you." Ethan stared at the skyline. "Why would she think she can speak to me?" There was a pause. "She says you need to see the child." Ethan closed his eyes. "I don't do emotional ambushes," he said. "Send her to legal." "We tried," the assistant said. She refused. Security escorted her out. But the child wouldn't leave. Another pause. "She's still there." Ethan exhaled slowly. "Why?" "She's sitting on the front steps. She hasn't said anything. She just keeps holding her backpack and waiting." Waiting. Children were not supposed to wait like that. "How old?" Ethan asked. "About 8, maybe 9. Ethan felt something shift, small and unwelcome. "What happened to her?" The assistant hesitated. "The teachers say it was a misunderstanding, a discipline issue, but the girl was removed from class. She was locked in a storage room for nearly an hour." Ethan's grip tightened on the phone. "That's against protocol." "Yes, sir." "Who authorized it?" "No one is admitting responsibility." "Of course." "And the mother," Ethan said. "What does she want?" "She says her daughter has stopped speaking since yesterday." Silence filled the kitchen. Children did not stop speaking for no reason. Ethan looked down at the city again, at the distance, at how easy it was to never look down at all. "I'll come," he said. The assistant sounded relieved and terrified at the same time. "Sir, the board." "I'll come," Ethan repeated. He ended the call before anyone could argue. 20 minutes later, Ethan Caldwell stepped out of a black car in front of Eastline Academy. The building looked exactly the way it always did. Clean, neutral, respectable. Tall iron gates. Fresh banners advertising excellence and leadership. On the front steps, a woman sat stiffly beside a small girl. The girl's feet did not reach the ground. She wore a faded blue sweater and sneakers that had once been white. Her backpack rested on her lap, both arms wrapped around it like it might float away. She did not look up when the car door closed. The woman did. Her face hardened immediately. "That's him," she said. Security rushed forward. Administrators followed. Apologies started forming in the air, sharp and rehearsed. Ethan raised one hand. They stopped. He walked closer. Up close, the girl looked smaller. Too small for the amount of quiet she carried. "What's her name?" Ethan asked. The woman answered quickly. Lena. The girl did not react. How old? Ethan asked. 9, the woman said. She was 8 last month. Ethan crouched down in front of the girl, ignoring the sudden nervous shifting behind him. Lena, he said gently. No response. She stared straight ahead, eyes fixed on the glass doors of the school. What happened inside? Ethan asked. The woman's voice shook now. They said she disrupted class. She asked to use the bathroom twice. The teacher got annoyed, sent her to wait, then forgot about her. Forgot. Ethan looked at the building. An hour, the woman continued. Locked in the dark. No windows. She screamed until she stopped. Ethan felt heat rise behind his eyes. Did anyone check on her? Not until the bell rang. Ethan turned back to Lena. Lena, he said softly, can you hear me? Slowly, she turned her head. Her eyes met his. They were not afraid. They were empty. Do you know who I am? Ethan asked. She stared at him for a long moment. Then she shook her head once. That's okay, he said. You don't have to know. She looked down at her backpack again. What's in there? Ethan asked. She hesitated. Then, carefully, she unzipped it and pulled out a folded paper. Her hands trembled as she held it out. Ethan took it. It was a handwritten incident report. Scribbled. Defensive. Incomplete. At the bottom was a single line, almost an afterthought. Student is frequently distracted. Home environment may be unstable. Ethan's jaw tightened. He looked at the woman. Is her home unstable? The woman swallowed. We live in one room. I work nights. She walks herself to school. Ethan nodded once. He stood. Open the school, he said. The principal stepped forward, pale. Sir, classes are in session. Open, Ethan said again. The doors unlocked. Ethan looked down at Lena. Do you want to go back inside? He asked. She shook her head. No, she whispered. It was the first sound she had made. Ethan felt it land somewhere deep. That's okay, he said. You don't have to. He stood, turned to the administrators. This is my school, he said calmly. And this stops now. No one spoke. Ethan looked at Lena one more time. Lena, he said, will you walk with me? She looked at him, then at her mother. Her mother nodded slowly. Lena stood, her hand hovered in the air, uncertain. After a moment, she took Ethan's finger with 2 of her own. It was the lightest touch, but Ethan felt it all the way up his arm. As they stepped inside together, he did not yet know that this child was about to dismantle every system he had built his life around. He only knew one thing. Something inside him had already started to crack. The hallway smelled like polish and fear. Ethan walked slowly, matching Lena's short steps. Her fingers stayed hooked around his, not tight, just enough to remind herself he was there. Teachers pressed themselves against walls as they passed. No one spoke. The principal cleared his throat. Mr. Caldwell, perhaps we should discuss this privately. Ethan did not look at him. We are... They stopped outside a classroom with a blue paper sign taped to the door. Grade 3B. Ethan felt Lena hesitate. This one, she whispered. He knelt beside her. Do you want to go in? She shook her head. Do you want me to? He asked. She nodded once. Ethan stood and opened the door. The room fell silent. 20 children sat at their desks. A woman stood at the front, chalk frozen midair. Her smile was automatic and brittle. Mr. Caldwell, she said too brightly. This is unexpected. So is locking a child in a room, Ethan replied. A murmur moved through the class. The teacher stiffened. That was a misunderstanding. Where's the room? Ethan asked. The teacher hesitated. It's a storage space near the gym. Show me. She glanced at the principal. He nodded weakly. They walked. The storage room door was gray. No window. No handle on the inside. Ethan opened it. The light flicked on. Inside were stacked chairs, broken boxes, cleaning supplies. The air felt wrong. Thick. Closed. Lena stayed back, eyes fixed on the doorway. This is where you put her, Ethan said quietly. It was only for a short time, the teacher said. She was being disruptive. Ethan turned slowly. How? He asked. Was she disruptive? She kept asking to leave. She wasn't following instructions. She needed the bathroom. The mother said from behind them. The teacher flushed. She should have waited. Ethan looked at Lena. Did you tell her why? He asked. Lena nodded. My stomach hurt. Ethan closed the door gently. No, child, he said. Waits in the dark is discipline. The principal swallowed. We follow approved methods. You follow convenience, Ethan replied. He turned to Lena. Can you show me where you Saturday? They returned to the classroom. Lena pointed to a desk near the back. A crack ran through its surface. Ethan pulled the chair out and sat. The desk wobbled. How long have you been in this class? He asked her. All year, she said. Do you like school? She thought. I like reading. Do you like coming here? She shook her head. Ethan looked around. Posters about excellence. Charts ranking behavior. Stars next to names. Who sits at the front? He asked. Lena pointed. And the back. She pointed to herself. Why? She shrugged. The quiet kids go there. The teacher crossed her arms. We separate based on engagement. Ethan stood. Send the class to the library, he said. Now. But. Now. The children filed out, whispering. Lena stayed. When the room was empty, Ethan turned to the adults. This school exists because I funded it, he said. I wanted efficiency, order, results. He looked at the charts again. You build a system that rewards noise and punishes need. The principal opened his mouth. Ethan raised a hand. No excuses. He turned to Lena's mother. What do you do for work? I clean offices, she said. Night shift. How many hours? 12, sometimes more. Ethan nodded. Do you get calls from the school often? Yes. For what? She's quiet. She zones out. She doesn't participate enough. Ethan looked at Lena. What do you think about when you zone out? He asked. She hesitated. I count things. Like what? Steps, cracks, breaths. Ethan's chest tightened. Why? He asked gently. So I don't feel sick. Silence settled over the room. The nurse stepped forward. She came to me once. Said her stomach hurt every morning. And, Ethan asked, and I told her to drink water. Ethan nodded slowly. Do you know why she feels sick? He asked. The nurse shook her head. Ethan looked at Lena again. Does it hurt now? She nodded. Ethan checked his watch. Cancel classes for the rest of the day, he said. This wing only. The principal sputtered. Sir, the parents. I am one of the parents now, Ethan said. He turned to Lena's mother. May I take her to a doctor? The woman hesitated. I can't afford. I didn't ask about money, Ethan said. Lena looked up at him. Am I in trouble? She asked. No, Ethan said immediately. You did nothing wrong. She studied his face. Am I bad? She whispered. Something broke inside him. No, he said. You are not bad. You were ignored. She nodded like that made sense. They walked out together. Outside, the air felt lighter. As the car door opened, Lena paused. Mr. Caldwell, she said. Yes. If I go to another school, she asked, will they lock me again? Ethan held her gaze. Not if I have anything to say about it. She considered that. Then she climbed into the car. As the door closed, Ethan stood on the steps of his perfect institution and realized something terrifying. He had built a system that worked exactly as designed, and it was hurting children. The doctor's office was small and loud. A fish tank bubbled in the corner. A cartoon played too brightly on a wall-mounted screen. Lena sat on the edge of the exam table, legs swinging, backpack clutched to her chest. Ethan sat across from her mother, hands folded, posture straight. He had negotiated billion-dollar contracts in rooms quieter than this. The doctor finished reading the chart. Stomach pain, she said. Morning nausea. Headaches. Trouble sleeping. She looked at Lena. Any dizziness? Lena nodded. Any trouble breathing? Another nod. The doctor leaned back. How long has this been happening? Months. the mother said. Maybe longer. The doctor sighed softly. This isn't a stomach problem. Ethan's jaw tightened. It's anxiety, the doctor continued. Severe chronic anxiety. In a child. Lena's fingers tightened around a backpack strap. Am I sick? She asked. No, the doctor said gently. Your body is reacting to stress. Stress from what? Ethan asked. The doctor glanced at the mother. School. Instability. Fear. Children don't always have language for it. So it shows up here. She tapped the chart. She's been surviving, not feeling safe. Ethan looked at Lena. When do you feel most scared? He asked quietly. She thought, when I can't leave a room. The storage door flashed in his mind. And when else? When adults stop listening. The doctor nodded. That will do it. Ethan stood slowly. What does she need? He asked. Immediate removal from that environment, the doctor said. Routine. Safety. Someone who shows up. Ethan absorbed the words. Someone who shows up. They left with a referral slip and instructions written in careful ink. Outside, the sky had darkened. Clouds rolled low. The driver opened the car door. Where to? He asked. Ethan hesitated. Home was not the word he wanted. Back to the school, he said. The mother stiffened. Why? Because, Ethan said, this doesn't end with apologies. At Eastline Academy, the gates were closed. Ethan did not slow down. Security rushed forward. Sir, the building is closed. Unlock it. They did. Inside, the lights were dim. The quiet felt heavy now, not orderly. Ethan handed Lena's backpack to her mother. Wait here, he said gently. Both of you. Lena looked up at him. Are you coming back? Yes, he said without hesitation. He walked alone. The conference room was still set up from the emergency meeting. Bottled water untouched. Chairs slightly crooked. The principal entered, sweating. 2 board members followed on video screens. Ethan, one said, forcing a smile. We were hoping to discuss optics. Ethan sat. We're not discussing optics, he said. We're discussing harm. The principal cleared his throat. We suspended the teacher. That's not enough. We're reviewing protocols. Too late. One board member frowned. What exactly are you proposing? Ethan looked at the screen. I'm shutting down the disciplinary wing, he said. Effective immediately. Silence. You can't do that, the other board member said. Parents pay for structure. They pay for safety, Ethan replied. This is an overreaction, the principal said. One incident. One child, Ethan said, was locked in a room. One child stopped speaking. One child learned that silence is safer than asking for help. No one interrupted him. This school teaches obedience, not care, Ethan continued. Compliance, not protection. The first board member leaned forward. This affects enrollment. Good. That affects revenue. Ethan nodded. I'm aware. The second board member's voice hardened. Are you prepared to absorb a fallout? Ethan stood. Yes. The call ended abruptly. The principal stared at him. You're risking everything you built. Ethan thought of Lena counting breaths in the dark. Yes, he said. I am. He walked back to the lobby. Lena was sitting on the floor, drawing invisible shapes on the tile. When she saw him, she stood quickly. Are we going back in? She asked. No, Ethan said. You're done here. She frowned. Forever. Forever. Her shoulders relaxed in a way that was almost painful to witness. As they stepped outside, rain began to fall. Soft at first, then heavier. Lena tilted her face upward. I like rain, she said. It sounds like moving. Ethan watched her for a moment. Then his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. This is Child Services. A voice said, We receive a report regarding a minor at Eastline Academy. Ethan closed his eyes. Yes, he said. I expected your call. We need to speak with the child guardian. Ethan looked at Lena's mother, pale now, afraid. I'm here, Ethan said, and I'm not going anywhere. The rain soaked through his jacket. For the first time in years, he did not step away from the storm. Child services arrived in a gray sedan with no markings. Two people stepped out, a woman with a clipboard, a man with tired eyes. They looked around the school entrance like they were measuring the space for damage. Lena pressed closer to her mother. Ethan noticed and stepped slightly in front of them, not blocking, just present. "We receive a report," the woman said, "concerning a minor and possible neglect." The word landed hard. Neglect. Lena's mother's hands began to shake. "I work nights," she said quickly. "I don't leave her alone. I make meals." Ethan raised a hand gently. "Let's slow down." The woman looked at him. Recognition flickered. "Mr. Caldwell." "Yes." "This may not be an appropriate place for you." "It's exactly the place for me," Ethan said, "because the report came from my institution." The man with tired eyes looked at the school doors. "What happened?" Ethan answered calmly. A child was isolated, locked in a room, for an hour, without supervision. The woman's pen paused. "That's a serious allegation." "It's documented," Ethan said, "and I witnessed the room." They exchanged a look. "We still need to assess the home situation," the woman said. Lena flinched. Ethan knelt in front of her. "No one is taking you anywhere," he said quietly. "No one is separating you from your mom." Lena searched his face. "You promise?" she asked. Ethan did not hesitate. "I promise." The woman cleared her throat. "We can conduct the interview at the residence." Lena's mother swallowed. "Our place is small." "That's not a crime," Ethan said. The drive was silent. Rain streaked the windows. Lena counted the drops with her finger, tracing lines that disappeared too fast. Their apartment building leaned slightly to one side. Paint peeled. The elevator was broken. Ethan took the stairs without comment. Inside, the apartment was one room divided by a thin curtain, a mattress on the floor, a small table, 2 chairs. Everything clean, everything worn. The child services workers looked around. "Where does Lena sleep?" the man asked. "Here," Lena said, pointing to the mattress. "I sleep by the wall so I can hear my mom breathe." The woman wrote something down. "What do you do after school?" she asked. "I read," Lena said. "Or wait." "Wait for what?" "For my mom to come home." "How long is that?" "Sometimes very long." Ethan felt it in his chest again. "Does anyone help you?" the woman asked. Lena shook her head. "I help myself." The man closed his folder. "This is not neglect," he said quietly. "This is poverty." The woman looked at him, then at Ethan. "We'll file the report accordingly," she said. "But the school—" "I'm handling the school," Ethan said. They left. When the door closed, Lena's mother sat down hard on the chair. "I thought they were going to take her," she whispered. Ethan crouched in front of her. "They won't." "How do you know?" "Because you love her," he said. "And because I won't let a broken system punish you for surviving." Lena watched him closely. "You get mad at systems," she said. "Yes," Ethan replied. "I helped build some of them." She considered that. "Then you should help fix them," she said. He almost smiled. That night, Ethan did not go back to the penthouse. He sat on the floor of the apartment while Lena read aloud from a library book. Her voice was soft but steady. She stumbled on long words and corrected herself. At some point, she stopped reading. "Mr. Caldwell," she said. "Yes." "Why are you staying?" The question was simple. Dangerous. Ethan thought about his empty kitchen, his silent phone, his life designed to avoid questions like this. "Because," he said slowly, "someone should have stayed for you earlier." Lena nodded like that answer fit somewhere inside her. When she fell asleep, curled against her mother, Ethan sat awake. For the first time, he understood something he had never allowed himself to name. This was not charity. This was responsibility. Morning came in pieces. A bus hissed outside. Someone argued on the stairs. A radio played too loudly in another apartment. Light crept through the thin curtain and settled on Lena's face. She woke suddenly, sitting up. For a second, fear flashed in her eyes. Then she saw Ethan still on the floor, back against the wall, jacket folded under his head. "You didn't leave," she said. "No," Ethan replied. "I said I wouldn't." She lay back down. Relief moved through her body like a slow exhale. Her mother woke a few minutes later, startled to see him. "You should go," she said softly. "You have work." Ethan stood, stretching stiff legs. "I cancel my morning." She frowned. "People like you don't cancel mornings." Ethan almost smiled. "They should." He made coffee using the small kettle. Burnt. Weak. He drank it anyway. Lena watched him closely. "Are you going to fix the school today?" she asked. "Yes." "How?" Ethan considered the question. "By listening to people the system ignores." She nodded. "That's harder." "Yes," he agreed. His phone buzzed. The board. Investors. Legal. He silenced it. Instead, he called his driver. "I need to visit 3 places," he said. "No press. No announcements." The first place was not a boardroom. It was a warehouse. One of his. The kind he hadn't toured in years. Workers froze where he walked in. Supervisors scrambled. Someone tried to give him a helmet. Ethan waved it away. "Who's been here longest?" he asked. A man raised his hand slowly. 12 years. "What happens when someone gets sick?" Ethan asked. The man laughed once. Bitter. "They don't." Ethan nodded. "What happens when a child needs help at school?" he asked. The man hesitated. "That's not our problem." Ethan felt the weight of that answer. By noon, he had visited a clinic, a public school, and the warehouse break room. He listened more than he spoke. Patterns emerged. People afraid to ask. Systems built to move problems, not solve them. Children learning early that silence kept them safe. By evening, Ethan returned to the apartment. Lena was doing homework on the floor. Her mother cooked rice on the hot plate. "You smell like outside," Lena said. "I was," Ethan replied. "Did you fix it?" "Not yet." She frowned. "Why not?" "Because fixing takes time." She accepted that, but her eyes said she was used to waiting. After dinner, there was a knock at the door. Ethan opened it. 2 women stood outside. One held a folder. The other held a phone. "Mr. Caldwell," the first said, "we're from the press." Ethan stepped outside and closed the door behind him. "Not here," he said calmly. "This is news," the second woman said. "A billionaire interfering with child services, shutting down a private school wing." "I didn't interfere," Ethan said. "I intervened." "Are you adopting the child?" "No." "Are you funding the family?" "I'm making sure a child is safe." "Is this guilt?" Ethan looked at them. "No," he said. "This is accountability." They exchanged glances. "People will say you're overstepping." "They already do." "People will say this isn't your responsibility." Ethan thought of Lena counting breaths in the dark. "It is now," he said. Inside, Lena pressed her ear to the door. She heard nothing but muffled voices. When Ethan came back in, she looked up. "They gone?" she asked. "Yes." "Good." Her mother hesitated. "They'll keep coming." "I know," Ethan said. Silence filled the room. Then Lena spoke. "Are they mad at you?" "Some are." "Why?" "Because when systems get exposed," Ethan said, "they push back." Lena nodded slowly. "Like, when I tell the teacher something is wrong," she said, "and they say I'm being difficult." "Yes," Ethan replied. "Exactly like that." She thought about it. "Then don't stop," she said. Ethan met her eyes. "I won't." That night, Lena had a nightmare. She screamed once. Just once. Ethan was awake instantly. He knelt beside her. "It's okay," he said quietly. "You're not locked in." She shook, breathing fast. "The door wouldn't open," she whispered. Ethan stayed until her breathing slowed. She fell asleep again with her hand gripping his sleeve. He did not move. In the dark, Ethan realized something else. Fixing systems meant nothing if he couldn't protect one child through the night. And for the first time, he was willing to learn how. The next morning, Lena did not want to go outside. Her mother noticed first. "You don't want breakfast," she said gently. Lena shook her head. Ethan crouched in front of her. "Do you want to tell me why?" She hesitated. Then, quietly, "What if they put me somewhere else?" "Who?" Ethan asked. "The people who write things down," she said. "The ones with the clipboards." Ethan understood. "They won't," he said. "And if anyone tries, I will be there." She looked at him carefully. "You can't be everywhere." "No," he admitted, "but I can make sure you're not alone." She accepted that, but fear stayed in her shoulders. Ethan made another decision. That afternoon, he took Lena and her mother to a public park near the river. Open space. No doors. No locks. At first, Lena stayed close. Then she noticed a girl drawing with chalk on the pavement. Slowly, Lena knelt beside her. They didn't speak. They drew lines. 10 minutes passed. Ethan watched from a bench. This was what healing looked like. Quiet, uneventful, easy to miss. His phone buzzed again. This time he answered. "You're facing a shareholder revolt," his legal counsel said. "They're accusing you of reckless governance." "I'm listening," Ethan said. "They want a statement, an apology." "For what?" Ethan asked. "For overreacting." Ethan looked at Lena laughing softly as chalk dust stained her fingers. "No," he said. A pause. "If you continue," the lawyer said carefully, "they may attempt to remove you." Ethan felt the weight of the words. "Then they'll have to explain why," he replied. He ended the call. That evening, Ethan received an email. It was short, formal. A board meeting had been scheduled without his approval. Emergency vote. Confidence review. He did not show it to anyone. Instead, he sat at the small table and helped Lena with math homework. She struggled with word problems. "They don't make sense," she said. "Why?" "Because they pretend people are numbers," she replied. Ethan froze. "Yes," he said quietly. "They do." After dinner, Lena asked a question she had been circling for days. "Why do you care about me?" Her mother looked up sharply. Ethan did not answer right away. "Because," he said slowly, "I helped create the world that scared you." "That's not fair," Lena said. "It is," Ethan replied. "And it's my job to fix what I can." She studied him. "Even if it costs you things." "Yes. What if you lose everything?" Ethan thought of the penthouse, the silence, the control. "I already lost the wrong things," he said. "This is me choosing better." She leaned back in her chair. "Okay," she said. "Just don't disappear." "I won't." That night, Ethan packed a bag. Not clothes. Documents. Contracts. Internal reports. Years of ignored warnings. Emails marked resolve without resolution. He was preparing for war, but not the kind he was used to. The next morning, the board meeting began without him. He watched it on mute from the apartment. Lena drawing beside him. Votes appeared on the screen. Names he knew. Faces he had trusted. The decision came fast. Temporary removal. Effective immediately. His title disappeared with a single line of text. Ethan did not react. Lena noticed anyway. "You look different," she said. "I lost my job," he replied. She blinked, like fired. "Yes." Her mother inhaled sharply. Lena was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked, "Did you do the right thing?" Ethan met her eyes. "Yes." Then she said, "It's okay?" Something in his chest gave way. Outside, his phone lit up with messages. Offers. Advice. Warnings. He turned it off. For the first time in decades, Ethan Caldwell was no longer in charge of anything except what mattered. That afternoon, Child Services called again. Routine follow-up. This time, Lena did not hide. She sat at the table, legs swinging, answering questions. "I feel safer," she said simply. The woman looked surprised. "Why?" "Because people stay now." Ethan watched the exchange. When they left, Lena looked at him. "You staying?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "For real." "For real." She smiled. That night, as Lena slept without nightmares, Ethan sat awake, jobless, uncertain, and more grounded than he had ever been. He understood now. Power was not something you held. It was something you used. And sometimes something you gave up. The news broke the next morning. Ethan did not watch it. Lena did. The TV was on low volume, while her mother folded laundry. A familiar building filled the screen. His school. His name in the caption. Billionaire founder removed after school abuse scandal. Lena tilted her head. That's you. Yes, Ethan said from the kitchen. They look mad. They are. Are you in trouble? He walked over and sat beside her. Not the kind that matters. On screen, a commentator spoke about governance, responsibility, market confidence. No one said Lena's name. No one showed the storage room. They're talking like you broke something, Lena said. Ethan nodded. I broke silence. She considered that. Silence is bad. Sometimes, he said. Sometimes it keeps people comfortable. The TV cut to a clip of a board member saying changes were necessary to restore order. Lena frowned. Order is when things don't hurt people. Ethan looked at her. You're right. He turned the TV off. By noon, the apartment door knocked again. Not reporters this time. A woman in a navy blazer stood there. No clipboard. No badge. Mr. Caldwell, she said. My name is Rachel Ortiz. I represent a community legal coalition. Ethan stepped aside. Inside, she sat at the small table, careful not to crowd the space. I've been trying to reach you, she said, before the board vote. You found me, Ethan replied. Yes, she said, because what you did scared people. Lena looked up from her drawing. Why? Because, Rachel said gently, you showed that money doesn't protect systems from accountability. Lena liked that answer. Rachel opened her folder. Teachers. Warehouse workers. Parents. They've been trying to speak up for years. You gave them an opening. Ethan listened. They're asking you to testify, Rachel continued, about internal practices, about what you saw. That would burn bridges. Ethan said, yes, Rachel replied, and light others. Lena raised her hand slightly, like candles. Rachel smiled. Exactly. Ethan leaned back. If I do this, they'll come after everyone connected to me. They already are, Rachel said. The question is whether the truth comes out or gets buried again. Ethan thought of spreadsheets, quiet meetings, decisions that never felt personal until they were. I'll do it, he said. Lena looked relieved, though she didn't know why. That afternoon, Ethan took Lena to a small tutoring center run out of a library basement. No uniforms. No ranking charts. No locked doors. The tutor knelt to Lena's level. What do you like? She asked. Patterns, Lena said, and stories where people fix things. The tutor nodded. You'll fit in. Lena looked back at Ethan. You coming back? I'll be here, he said. He waited outside for an hour. No calls. No crises. Just time. When Lena came out, she was smiling. She let me read out loud, Lena said, and no one laughed. Ethan felt something loosen in his chest. On the walk home, Lena stopped suddenly. Mr. Caldwell, she said. Yes. When you lost your job, she asked, did you get scared? Ethan answered honestly. Yes. What scares you the most? That I won't be enough without it. Lena looked up at him. You already are, she said. You stayed. He swallowed. That evening, her mother spoke for the first time about fear. I'm afraid they'll punish us quietly, she said. No headlines. Just closed doors. Ethan nodded. They will try. What do we do? We keep showing up, he replied. Together. The days that followed were strange. No schedules. No assistants. Ethan learned how long afternoons were. He learned how loud silence could be when you were no longer avoiding it. He walked Lena to the library every morning, sat in plastic chairs, talked to parents whose names no one remembered. He listened. At night, he reviewed documents with Rachel, emails that proved neglect, policies that punished need. The system unfolded in front of him, ugly and precise. One evening, Lena asked a question that changed the air in the room. Are you going to leave when this is over? Ethan looked up. When what is over? When you fix it, she said. When you don't need to stay anymore. Ethan closed the folder. I'm not staying because I need to, he said. I'm staying because I choose to. She studied him. You can choose again later. Yes. But right now, she said, you're choosing us. Yes. She nodded. Okay. That night, she slept deeply. No counting. No shaking. Ethan sat at the table long after the lights were off. He realized something quietly. This was the first place he had ever been wanted without conditions, and he was not in a hurry to leave. The hearing was scheduled for a Tuesday. Not downtown. Not televised. A municipal building with beige walls and flickering lights. The kind of place where decisions were made quietly and lives were changed without ceremony. Ethan arrived early. Rachel met him at the door with a thin smile. They moved it from the main chamber, she said. Less attention. Of course they did, Ethan replied. Inside, rows of plastic chairs filled slowly. Teachers, parents, warehouse workers, people who had learned not to expect much. Ethan sat alone at the front. No suit, no entourage, just him. When his name was called, a low murmur passed through the room. He stood, swore in, Saturday. The first question came from a man with a practiced voice. Mr. Caldwell, were you aware of any systemic abuse within your institutions? Yes, Ethan said. The room stilled. Define abuse. Isolation. Punishment disguised as discipline. Policies that ignored human limits. You're describing management challenges. I'm describing harm, Ethan said evenly. The man leaned back. You benefited from these systems. Yes. Yet you're here condemning them. Yes. Why? Ethan thought of Lena tracing raindrops on glass, counting breaths in the dark. Because, he said, I finally saw who paid the price. Another voice cut in, sharper. Are you doing this to repair your image? No. To regain control? No. To avoid liability? No. A pause. Then why? Ethan did not raise his voice. Because children learn very early whether the world will protect them, he said, and ours didn't. The chairwoman cleared her throat. Mr. Caldwell, did you personally intervene in the case of a minor named Lena? Yes. Why that child? Ethan felt every eye on him. Because she was visible, he said. Most are not. Silence. Outside the building, reporters waited. Ethan did not stop. He went straight home. Lena was at the table, cutting paper into careful shapes. Did you win? She asked. There isn't a win, Ethan said, but something moved. She accepted that. That evening, a letter arrived. Plain envelope. No return address. Ethan opened it. It was a notice. Temporary custody review. His chest tightened. He did not show it to Lena. Not yet. That night, she woke again. Not screaming. Just sitting up. I had a dream, she said. About what? A door, she said. But this time it opened. Ethan sat beside her. What was on the other side? She thought. People. He nodded. In the morning, child services returned. This time with a supervisor. Polite. Firm. We need to discuss stability, the supervisor said. Lena's mother's hands shook again. Ethan spoke before fear could take over. She is stable, he said. She's improving. That's not the only factor, the supervisor replied. There's scrutiny, media attention. So punish the child, Ethan said, for surviving. That's not what this is. It's what becomes, Ethan replied. Lena sat quietly listening. Finally, she spoke. I don't want to go somewhere else, she said. The supervisor looked surprised. This is temporary, she said gently. I've had temporary my whole life, Lena replied. I want something that stays. The room went quiet. The supervisor closed her folder slowly. We'll recommend no removal, she said. For now. After they left, Lena leaned against Ethan. You look scared, she said. I was, he admitted. But you didn't run. No. She nodded. Later that day, Ethan received another call. A former board member. You're destroying your legacy, the voice said. Ethan looked around the apartment, at the drawings on the fridge, the small shoes by the door. I'm building one, he replied and hung up. That night, Lena asked to keep the hallway light on. Ethan did. He sat in the doorway until she slept. He understood something then. The systems he fought were loud and powerful, but healing was quiet, and it required someone to stay long enough for the quiet to feel safe. The recommendation did not end the scrutiny. It sharpened it. 2 days later, a letter arrived from the District Education Authority, then another from a private donor council, then a third from a legal firm Ethan recognized immediately. They were not threats. They were pressure, requests for clarification, concerns about influence, questions wrapped in polite language. Lena noticed a change before anyone said anything. You're quieter, she said one afternoon while sorting her paper shapes by color. I'm thinking, Ethan replied. Thinking usually means something bad is coming, she said matter-of-factly. He did not deny it. That evening, Rachel came by. She sat on the edge of the chair, posture tight. They're changing strategy, she said. They're not attacking you anymore. Who are they attacking? Ethan asked. The mother. The word landed heavy. They're framing her as unstable, Rachel continued. Overworked, emotional, questioning her ability to provide. Lena's mother went pale. I've done everything right, she said. I worked. I showed up. I know, Rachel said gently. But systems don't reward effort. They punish vulnerability. Ethan felt anger rise, slow and dangerous. What do they want? He asked. A quiet resolution, Rachel said. They want Lena placed in temporary foster care. Just long enough for attention to die down. Lena froze. No, she said. Her voice was small, but it cut through the room. I won't go. The room fell silent. The next words mattered. Ethan knelt in front of her. No one is taking you away tonight, he said calmly, and no decision will be made without us fighting it. But they can, Lena said. Adults always can. Ethan met her eyes. Not this time. Her mother's voice broke. I don't want to lose her. You won't, Ethan said, but we have to be smart. That night, Ethan made another choice. He called a number he had not dialed in years. Not a lawyer, not an investor. A woman answered after 3 rings. Yes, this is Ethan Caldwell, he said. I need a favor. Silence. Then, you don't ask for favors. I'm asking now. For what? For the truth to be documented, he said. On record, in public. The woman exhaled slowly. You're going to burn what's left. I know. The next morning, Ethan walked into a small courthouse, not as a witness, as a petitioner. Emergency guardianship filing. Temporary. Protective. Legal. Rachel stood beside him. This changes everything, she whispered. Yes, Ethan replied. That's the point. Lena did not come. She stayed home with her mother, fingers clenched around the edge of the table. What if they say no? She asked. Her mother hugged her tightly. Then we keep going. Hours passed. Then the call came. Rachel's voice was steady, but bright. The judge approved interim shared guardianship, she said. Pending review. Lena blinked. What does that mean? Ethan knelt in front of her when he returned. It means, he said carefully, that no one can move you without all of us agreeing. Your mom, me, the court. Lena stared at him. You're not leaving, she said. No, you're not pretending. No. She breathed out, a long breath she seemed to have been holding for years. Okay, she said. Then I'm staying. That night, the apartment felt different, not safer, stronger. Lena taped one of her paper shapes to the wall near the door. What is that? Ethan asked. A marker, she said. For what? For where I live. Ethan understood. Outside, rain fell again. Inside, Lena slept with the light off for the first time. Ethan sat at the table, reviewing the court document. Guardian. The word felt heavy. He had built companies without blinking. This felt larger. His phone buzzed once. A message from the board. This won't end the way you think. Ethan turned the phone face down. For the first time, he was not afraid of endings. He was committed to what stayed. The review took 6 weeks. 6 weeks of waiting rooms, careful words, and people who measured love in checklists. Ethan attended every hearing. Not as a billionaire, as a guardian. Lena's mother answered every question honestly. About work, about exhaustion, about mistakes she wished she could undo. No excuses, no performance, just truth. Lena was asked to speak once. The room was smaller than the last one. Fewer people, softer voices. A woman leaned forward. Lena, do you feel safe at home? Lena nodded. Yes. Why? Because people stay, she said. And when I get scared, someone listens. The woman wrote that down. Another voice asked, do you understand what's happening? Yes, Lena said. You're deciding if I get to keep my life. Silence followed. No one corrected her. When the decision came, it arrived in an envelope, like all important things that should not be small. Rachel called first. It's done, she said. Full guardianship remains with your mother. Shared legal protection stands. No removal. No further review unless requested. Ethan closed his eyes. Lena watched his face. We won, she asked. He smiled, soft and real. We stayed. That afternoon, Ethan packed the last of his things from the apartment he no longer needed. Not because he was leaving, because he was moving in. Lena helped, organizing his books by height. You're bad at this, she said. I know, he replied. I had people for it. You have me now. Yes, he said. I do. The world did not suddenly become kind. Articles still circulated. Opinions hardened. Doors closed quietly in places Ethan once ruled. But other doors opened. Teachers reached out. Parents asked questions. Workers spoke louder. Change did not roar. It crept. One evening, months later, Lena came home from the library with a paper in her hand. I wrote something, she said. What is it? A story. She read it aloud. It was about a city full of doors. Some locked, some forgotten. One door opened when someone stayed long enough. When she finished, she looked up. Is it okay? She asked. It's true, Ethan said. That night, as Lena slept, Ethan stood by the window. The city was still loud, still imperfect, still capable of harm. But inside this small apartment, something held. A child who spoke again. A mother who rested. A man who finally understood what power was for. Not control. Not legacy. Presence. And for the first time, that was enough.